Happy Tuesday, everybody. Hope everybody's holding up well. Let me know in the chat where you're tuning in from, how you're doing. You holding in there? It's Tuesday, March 4th. Hope you're well. It's Rod with the Pow Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. We're going to get started with a live stream here momentarily. We'll give it another half a minute or so for people to jump on. But as you do, let us know where you're tuning in from. And again, like I said, let us know how you're holding up. We got G. Edwards in the house. You got a question with regards to the dilution? Yeah, we can discuss that. We'll discuss that in just a moment. I'll go over my thoughts and opinions on the sector, and then we'll jump into the chat. But yeah, we'll probably just save this stream for mostly just a kind of a chill. I'll interact with the live stream a lot more in the stream, and we'll get started here in about 10 seconds. Tons of people rolling in. Welcome, welcome. We're going to get started here momentarily. Couple dozen people in already. I'm sure there'll be more joining us, but welcome, welcome. We're going to get started. Sector sentiment is at an all-time low, and I forgot to update the thumbnail. Just posted this video though. CURA weekly bull flag. There are some outliers at the moment. CURA is a weekly bull flag potential, has yet to confirm, but if it does, it's targeting 257, and that would be a brand new all-time high. Something that the whole sector is going to be, it's going to be a long time coming before we see 52-week highs and all-time highs across the sector. But this is the thumbnail that I meant to update. I did update it, but I had some technical difficulties. Went to go live and it wasn't loading for some reason, so I had to close my streaming software, open it back up, and then it didn't save my thumbnail, so that's what happened there. But sector sentiment is at an all-time low, and like I said, let me know how you're doing. There's a lot of people that are, I've seen a lot of capitulation. Some people, with MJ in their handle on X on Twitter, and they're basically saying they're going to just completely get rid of their entire MJ account, right? And I'm not telling you to buy, sell, or hold. I'm not telling you what to do, what not to do. This isn't financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. Don't buy or sell or do anything based on anything that I say or write, right? You have to do it based on your own accord and do your own due diligence. And I'm not, personally, it doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you sell low and buy high, right? This is not the time to sell. We had tons of time to sell, and to wait for, the dire straits, like the absolute bottom of the barrel, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But before we get to it, make sure to smash like, all that good stuff. If you tick the bell, you'll be notified on any future live streams or when I post new content. And you can follow us over on X, formerly Twitter, which I mentioned earlier. At Group Pow is the handle for that. I'm going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. You're getting a ton of followers over there, closing in on the 1,000 follower mark, so really appreciate it. And speaking of which, closing in on 10,000 subscribers here on YouTube, so I really do appreciate all of the support. Definitely does not go unnoticed. So MSOS, I've been calling for a while now that there was a daily bear flag and descending triangle targeting 306. We hit that, and then I mentioned that there was a weekly bear flag, and it wasn't just MSOS. It wasn't just the US names, it was Canadian names as well. And a lot of Canadian names hit daily bear flags, and the sector continued to remain extremely bearish. There's been absolutely no mentioning of MJ from the new administration, and they've got bigger fish to fry, right? And at the end of the day, I think that we will get some sort of reform under this new administration, but it doesn't matter, right? We had a president, we had a runner-up, right? The presidential ticket won. The Dems wanted to completely legalize it at the recreational level, and the other side of the aisle was saying, rescheduling, safe banking. So both very pro reform, and the stock prices weren't doing anything. So what does that tell you? In my opinion, in my humble opinion, the sector is waiting for the biggest economy in the world, the United States, to do something, whether it's safe banking, whether it's uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ, whether it's rescheduling, an attempt to deschedule. One of those things has to happen. Okay, like not just progress on rescheduling, not just progress on safer banking, but actual concrete, official, something concrete officially happening. And if we get rescheduling to Schedule 3 enacted and 280E goes away, that's something concrete. That would explode prices. If we get safer banking done, which is very possible, especially with this new Operation Choke Point and debanking, everything that's going on there, and just the pro-business, pro-American people, pro-common sense era that we're heading into, pro jobs, pro tax revenue, right? Cutting needless spending. Well, why all these enforcement actions against medicine, something that kills 0 people, right? Versus, tobacco kills almost 500,000 people in the United States alone. Why are we spending all this wasteless dollars, taxpayer dollars, to enforce such archaic laws, right? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It's just asinine as hell. So we need to get rid of that needless spending, and that's probably going to be hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. And overall, we'll get there. It's just bigger fish to fry at the moment. So the fact that all of that just said MSOS weekly bear flag, you just take your measured move there from the high to the low, you move it out to your 0.32 fib, and it's saying 222. And we closed, actually we were down to 275. That's the new all-time low. And yeah, there's just nothing bullish here. There's a few outliers. Like I said, you've got a name like Oxley, who's been extremely bullish, actually just confirmed the monthly uptrend. But again, this didn't come with its destruction without its destruction either, right? Like when Canada legalized in January, I guess it was, is when we hit the new all-time high. It was $2.97. Oxley went from $2.97 to a penny, basically lost 100% of its value. How many people had written it off, right? I was adding at a penny, 2 pennies, and it's already up almost 10x. From the low to the high there, it's almost up 800%. So there's definitely opportunity here, and we're gearing up for the first ever monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. I just posted a video on Love, and same thing there. First ever monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross happening. This thing off the lows is now up almost 200%, and it just did a 1-for-10 reverse split. Okay, so there's definitely some outliers. High Tide still in a monthly uptrend, just looking for a monthly higher low. Very, very bullish. Just had its first ever monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross as well. So you're noticing a theme, but it's going to take a while before the rest of the sector catches up. And a lot of this has to do, in my opinion, with the fact that, these names like, CGC and TLRY and MSOS, they're that much more easy to manipulate when they're on these US major exchanges, and a ton of volume in these names as well. But yeah, it's been, not downplaying it, it's been absolutely brutal out there. TLRY, it had a daily bear flag target of, actually, was it the daily time frame? I think it was. Let me just zoom out here. Actually, no, it was an hourly bear flag. So we had the descending triangle target of 86. Then we had a bear flag target of 77 cents on the daily. And then if we zoom in to the hourly, you can see here high, low, lower high, lower low, bear flag confirmed. We were targeting 66 cents, and we actually overshot that. We hit 64. But decent bounce there off of 64 cents. I even mentioned in my last TLRY video that I didn't think that 80 to 75 cents was going to be the bottom. It was 86 cents was the target in that last video that I posted. And I said, I don't think that's going to be the bottom. Like, CGC was still targeting lower lows, and show me the chart, I'll tell you the news. Then we had the 200 million dilutions that G. Edwards was talking about here. So, show me the chart, I'll tell you the news. And it was kicked even more when it was already down. So CGC didn't help. CURA earnings didn't help yesterday. Stock's down 13% at the close. And even Green Thumb's amazing earnings, stock has still been trending lower, right? So it's just upside down world, right? Nothing makes sense. And we're finally starting to see some companies that are just extremely undervalued and that have been completely destroyed start to rebound. I mean, for crying out loud, ACB came back the whole move basically after that great earnings report and 2 reverse splits. If you factor in both reverse splits, and we could still see an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross here. So we're probably going to give that whole move back, in my opinion. We're into the golden pocket here now, though. But this stock is actually about 4 pennies because you have to factor in the 1 for 12 reverse split, then the 1 for 10. So if you divide 478 by 10 and then divide that by 12, you're going to get 4 cents, right? So this stock, ACB Aurora, is technically at 4 cents. And it goes to show you how quickly people forget. Like, so many people were turning bullish on Aurora after that last earnings report. Not saying it wasn't a great report, it was. But you have to remember, this stock is still at 4 cents, right? Would people still have that same psychological mindset if this had a 4 cent next to it, right? Like, basically, Oxley has a higher stock price, but it doesn't mean that it has a higher market cap. If you look at ACB's market cap, it's sitting at 262 million, which is absolutely dirt cheap, and Oxley sitting at 98 million, right? And CGC, crazy to think about. We're sitting at 228 million on CGC, and that's US. That is absolutely bonkers, considering I think it was like 17 billion or something at one point. So it's been rough, right? So in terms of gainers and movers and shakers on the day today, we have MSOX, CURA, and Verano leading the decline. And on the bull list, we have OGI, Cron, and CXXI. AYR is a name that has been absolutely destroyed as well. I've been cautioning people on this one. Just be very, very cautious. They got a lot of debt, a lot of competition. Yeah, look at this thing from last February. So hang on a second here. In 13 months, and that was the run up into the Florida vote, right? But in 13 months, it's down 93%. Okay. So to everybody who said that MSOs are the only things worth owning and it's, canopy garbage, LPs are garbage, everything's garbage in Canada, not worth owning. Well, we're starting to see the US new all-time lows, new 52-week lows. Like, it's dire straits out there, right? And everything's in the same category. If it's an MJ stock, doesn't matter if it's profitable, unprofitable, you name it. Everything's an MJ stock. So gifted 5 POW group memberships. Lingering Catapult, I think, is the name there. Thank you very much. And you're a VIP member, so I really do appreciate it. So you got yourself a CS Pill 99. You got yourself a membership. Jonathan Elliott, Cash Bonds, Keith Allen, and The Ghost. You were gifted a membership by Lingering Catapult. So thank you very much. Wow, good. Absolutely. Yep. Really do appreciate all of the support. And also, I know you're a VIP member as well, Lingering Catapult. So I appreciate the support. Same thing for Jaro Lista, VIP member in the house. 1 month membership. So thank you very much. Really do appreciate that. All right. So we'll jump into the chat here. Like I said, I didn't want to bore too many people with, too much of information about what I think. I kind of want to get into what everybody else is thinking, how you're holding up. And if anybody does have any chart requests, please let me know, or any other questions. We'll jump right into it. So G. Edwards says, could you comment on Canopy's massive 200 million US dilution announcement last Friday? Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. No problem. So again, I've been saying this for many, many months now, maybe even a couple of years at this point. With Canopy growth, we could see probably 2 or 3 more rounds of dilution. And we just saw that massive $200 million dilution at all-time lows, right? That's literally the meme. I don't have the meme in front of me, but I posted it in the POW Group private community, and it was literally a guy getting kicked in the nads, right? Because that's how it is. That's how it feels. You're already down. You're down and out. You're down for the count, and you're getting absolutely, manhandled or woman handled, whatever you want to call it. And it's just been brutal, right? And at the end of the day, retail always loses. The corporation will probably be fine at the end of the day, right? As sad as everything is. But if the company isn't profitable, and CGC is probably not going to turn a profit until at least, I would say best case scenario, 2027. I think it's more likely that it's 2028. So that tells you that dilution is very, very much a possibility. We know that Warren Buffett put in $1.4 billion investment into Constellation Brands. There's been some speculation that could be indirectly because of MJ. There's no proof to that, but one can think about it, and alcohol is not necessarily on the up and up. So it makes sense to me that he'd be kind of hedging his bets and going after the MJ side of things, especially with everything at all-time lows. What do savvy investors do, right? What do high IQ investors do? They buy blood in the streets. They buy fear. And when you're on social media, when you're on all of these platforms like X and whatnot, Reddit, what are most people talking about? Selling, right? That's literally the opposite. That's a very low IQ investor, right? Unless you're a trader, but that's a whole different ballgame, right? So, and I've got Mr. Mankey, another VIP member, sending funny memes over to my email here. Try not to get distracted, but yeah. So this is how things work, right? And with regards to that investment, maybe Constellation Brands could end up buying Canopy Growth. Who knows? I doubt it when it's still federally illegal in the US. But once we get some sort of reform, if we get rescheduling or an attempt to deschedule, safer banking, we'll see what kind of verbiage is in there. But that could potentially open the pathway and the door for Constellation to come in and fully acquire Canopy. That's a possibility. I mean, the market cap is insanely cheap right now. It's at 212 million, and we could be seeing another leg down, right? So at the end of the day, if the company is not profitable, dilution is always possible, right? If you don't have money, if you don't have enough money to keep the lights on, well, until you turn profitable, then you're always going to have the risk of dilution, right? That's what the public markets are for. And yes, it's brutal in MJ. Why though? Like so many people say that. It's like, this never happens in any other industry. Well, what other industry do you know that is federally illegal. Like people are like relating this to tech names or like grocery chain stores or Coca-Cola, or they're selling commodities that aren't like sugar, right? Sugar and water. That's not illegal at the federal level. That's not in the same category as heroin, right? So you have to remember that it's still federally illegal. So these rounds of dilutions they're going to plague the industry even more because access to capital is difficult. You can't even buy MJ with a credit card in the US, right? So like we're so early, it's not even funny. We're not even in the first inning. We're in the pregame warm up. We're in the, we just walked out onto the field for the pregame warm up pretty much. So I know it's frustrating, but if a company isn't and that's something that you can learn as well. What other companies aren't profitable? Tilray's not profitable yet. Okay, there's a bunch of names in Canada that are not profitable yet. Oxley's kind of turning the page there. Same thing with Organigram, and you got a few other Curaleaf's nowhere near to profitable yet. So until these names start turning, until they start reaching profitability, dilution is always going to be a possibility, right? And then there's names like High Tide, right? You don't see any dilution, but they're getting different credit facilities and things like that. Same thing with Green Thumb, but it's easier to get access to that capital, right? And even I think it was Boris Jordan was saying that on the earnings call yesterday that access to capital is actually not that bad right now. And with hemp and everything like that in the U.S., hemp's going to be huge. Beverages are going to be huge. He mentioned that the farm bill there's going to be a 1 year kind of delay on it, right? So nothing's going to essentially happen for 1 year. But he said that he believes beverages are safe, and it makes sense because Green Thumb's really only into the hemp beverages. You've got Mary Jones Soda into hemp beverages, and Tilray's partnering with them to bring them to Canada, and Tilray's only in hemp beverages in the U.S. What did Trulieve just do? They launched their Onward, and they're only in beverages, right? Curaleaf, though, has like the select bites and edibles and gummies, all that stuff. So they're a little bit more entrenched into it. But again, it's a little bit more risk, right? What happens if they have to eat that as an impairment or a loss or something like that, right? So his opinion, he thinks beverages are going to get the green light. And what other company do we know that's very focused on beverages in the MJ sector? Who's the most focused on beverages, right? I'll let you put two and two together, but hopefully that answers your question. I don't think it's, like I said, the end of the world, and this might not even be the last dilution. They mentioned like for strategic acquisitions, there's still going to be a lot of consolidation in the space, and I think they own, last time it was like around 13% of TerraSend. I think they could add TerraSend potentially as well under the Canopy USA umbrella. But you have to remember, they're now operating in the US under Canopy USA, Jetty, Wana, and Acreage. So this is a huge company, and they're deconsolidated off of the financials. We should see some more information into those deconsolidated financials into the spring, they said. So we'll see here what happens over the next few months. Now's the time to buy the dip, but be picky about which companies and stocks you are buying. I would agree with that 1,000%. I mean, at the end of the day, in the next bull market, there's probably going to be some, if we get reform in the US, like rescheduling, bare minimum, or safe banking, like everything's just going to go on an absolute tear, and you can probably throw a dart based on how beaten down we are. But yeah, long term, I think there's a lot of great sales out there. For risk versus reward, I think Oxy's a really great one. Can't go wrong with Tilray, Green Thumb. Down 60% since April, so a great time to be adding up on that one as well. In my opinion, I'm just not as completely sold on the MSOs because we still don't know who the clear winners and losers are going to be. We know who they are now, but Tilray operates in more countries than Green Thumb or Trulieve operate in states in the US, right? So they got a lot of work to do once they start to expand. They're going to be dipping into those cash reserves. The balance sheet isn't going to look as good as it does now. They might have to dilute, right, to fund like different strategic acquisitions, mergers and acquisitions. And if they're expanding into other states and other countries, that's highly, highly capex intensive, right? That's why Tilray and Curaleaf, that's why they're very similar, right? They both have a similar amount of debt. They both have a similar business model, but they're light years ahead, right? And even Curaleaf is a Canadian operator now. They own Northern Green Canada, so they're in Canada, the U.S., and they have the most revenue of any MJ company in the U.S., and they're in Europe. So, and Boris said he's very, very excited about Germany, and he doesn't think they're going to walk back any kind of the medical program that they're on. And I would agree. I think they're going to probably take more of a pause. But yeah, there's a lot of names out there that are great. High Tide, can't say enough good things about that one. Curaleaf, I think, is an absolute steal. Cron, I think, is great. They got like what, almost $1 billion in cash. I like Cresco, I like CGC long term. AYR, I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. AVCN, very bullish on them. Aurora might not be a bad play as well, just after this recent sell-off. After that move that we just had, we're basically giving the whole thing back. And where are we at now? We're down about 30 some percent, I think it was. Yeah, 32. And this is more of an international medical play, right? So everything, you're starting to see that differentiation in the space. But yeah, if I had to pick my top ones, I mean, I'd be cautious on Oxley now. Same thing with Canara Biotech because they've been run so much. But if I had to pick my top ones, obviously, you get your TLRY, your Curaleaf, what else? CGC, High Tide. Yeah, those are probably my top ones. And then if you want a little bit more safer bet, you got your green thumbs and things like that. And there's been a lot of opportunity, but I agree. Like you don't want to stretch yourself too thin either. I own about a dozen, maybe a little over a dozen MJ stocks. I'll have to do another update on my MJ portfolio soon as well. But hopefully that helps. But yeah, I would agree with that 100%. A disaster, yeah, it's been brutal. Absolute dumpster fire, bloodbath, whatever you want to call it, black dirt breakdown. It's been rough, but I really hope that people learn from this because, it's happened before. Look at Cardano. This thing went in a very short period of time. It went from I guess this is a newer exchange. Where would it be at here? Let's bring it up. Cardano. So this thing in 2018 was at $1.31 and it fell to under 2 pennies. So it was like 1.7 cents. It dropped literally like 99, almost 99% of its value. Remind you of something, right? And it's not a Schedule 1 federally illegal substance in the US, right? We don't have clear rules of the road yet for crypto, but if you go to certain areas of the world and you own Cardano, they're not going to give you the death penalty for simply owning it, right? They might confiscate it. They might take it from you. They might give you a fine. They might do something. They're not going to kill you. There's places in the world where you go and you get caught with MJ, you're dead, right? Like that's crazy. So of course it's going to be worse. Of course it's going to be harder to access capital. Of course dilution is going to be more. Of course reverse splits are going to be more of a thing, right? Like it's harder, right? It's insanely harder. And then this thing went from just under 2 pennies to $3.16, I think it was on some exchanges, but 309 on this one. So it ran basically 170x, almost 200x, $1,000 into $200,000. So it happens, right? For Christ's sakes, like Amazon, and not to compare, books, selling books and now selling everything but including the kitchen sink. If Amazon, not selling Schedule 1 illegal drugs in its infancy and early days, dropped 95%, it's just normal, right? This happens in every single sector that's new. It happened in crypto. It happened in electric vehicles. You're seeing it, they're dropping like flies. Look at NKLA, right? Nikola. So it's everywhere. And it's not just in the sectors that are Schedule 1 illegal substances at the federal level, right? This has happened, like Apple almost went bankrupt, for Christ's sake, selling computers in 1997. And if it wasn't for Microsoft. So again, I don't know how people don't understand this. And the reason why they don't, in my opinion, is because people come into MJ and they don't know anything about finance. They don't know. They're just like, I admire their passion and the love for the plant, but no love for any plant will get you through the hell that they put you through, right? Not very many people could survive a 95% crash on Amazon, right? So just imagine the amount of manipulation in the MJ sector with a Schedule 1 illegal drug at the federal level in the US. So again, and that's what I was lucky enough to be introduced to Bitcoin and crypto and the rest of crypto and XRP and everything before I really dipped my toes into MJ. And then I knew to kind of go a little bit light, right? I don't need to, put in $100,000 of my life savings into this thing. Like it's volatile. It's, like I said, if you put $1,000 into Cardano in 2020, a little over a year later, you'd almost have $250,000, right? So you don't need to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars. And you might be like, well, if I do, I get rich quicker. It's like, yeah, but that's a bad mentality. That's a get rich quick scheme. That's a instant gratification world that you live in. That's generally not great. And then it met with a lot more anxiety and stress and risk, right? So again, I admire the passion. I admire the people that come into the space that knew nothing about nothing about the financial worlds or investing or trading or anything like that. And but the fact is you'll get absolutely roasted, no pun intended, right? And yeah, like I said, I was fortunate enough to come into crypto, and crypto is more volatile than MJ in my opinion. But nowadays, I'm not so sure. It's pretty nuts. 120K worth, 5K now. Might as well hold zero. Yeah, that's brutal. All I will say is if you have 120K into MJ, I hope your net worth's at least a couple million, because like I said, my rule of thumb is never put any more than 5 to 10% of your net worth. So if your net worth is 100,000, you should never put any more than 5 to 10,000 into one sector. Not just one stock, but one sector. So if your net worth is $100,000, let's say if you sold all your assets and paid all your debt, liabilities, you'd have $100,000 left over. Well, you should not put any more than 5 to 10% of that. And that's just my own, I'm not telling you what to do. That's just my own rule of thumb. And that's how I don't break the golden rule of risk any more than I'm willing to lose. And of that 5-10%, you take the sector and then you divide it out into 6 to 12 names from there, right? So, if your net worth is $1 million, you should never put in any more than $100,000 into one sector. And then if you do, take that $100,000 and spread it out across 6 to 12 different stocks or cryptos, right? Like that's how the smart people do it. And then the next time you'll take 5 to 10% of that, right? And then you'll be playing with $1 million before you know it, right? It's like you playing with 10,000, you get a 10x. Now you're at 100,000 into 10x, you're at $1 million, right? But then that $1 million that you have now, okay, 5 to 10% of that, your net worth, whatever it is, then look to play that in the next boom and bust cycle, or the next sector, or the next bull market, or the next play, right? So yeah, anytime someone tells me they're down 100K, I hope your net worth's $1 million. I really do, because I can't imagine the stress, the anxiety, the depression, the anger. It'd be insanely like, yeah, that's all I'll say. Reverse splits incoming for all these stocks. Yeah, most of them have already done it, right? Love already did. As I mentioned earlier, it did a reverse split 1 for 10, but then it dropped to a lower low, and then now it's almost at all-time highs, up 200%. INSG, it's not an MJ stock. It's a 5G stock. So if it can happen to a 5G stock, how come it can't happen to MJ? It did a 1 for 10. Right after, it went on a 12x. So $1,000 investment there into $12,000 just a little under a year later. So it doesn't mean that reverse splits suck. They're bad. 80 to 90%, very, very bad. But 5 to 10% okay, because share price goes up, maintains its listing, more institutional investors are interested, and yeah, you have lower amount of shares. So overall, just because something does a reverse split doesn't matter. Case in point, people are starting to turn bullish on Aurora now. This thing should be at 4 cents. It did 2 reverse splits, right? The last one it did a 1 for 10, and before that it did 1 for 12. So divide 478 by 10, right? 478 divided by 10, and then divide that by 12. So the stock is actually at 3.9 cents, not $4.78. So this is the illusion. This is the psychological trick that they create on everybody. And then they post one good earnings reaction and quarter. And then everybody forgets that this is a 4-cent stock, right? Everybody forgets. Most people didn't even know that they did a reverse split. I told them they didn't. They did 1 reverse split. I'm like, no, they did 2. Or some don't even know they did it at all, right? Because they're just not, they don't understand, or they're not paying attention. Or the last time they looked and, Aurora was at $4 and now it's at $4. I'm like, oh, it's basically flat. It's like, no, it's at 4 cents. So yeah, all the names have done it. The only one that hasn't done it is TLRY so far. And even if they get a warning here in the next couple of weeks, they still have 6 months to regain compliance. And then they can get an extension, which VFF already did, Village Farms. And now they got another warning. So VFF is pretty much, I would say, all but confirmed that they're going to do a reverse split now. So essentially, TLRY has over a year before they're forced to do one. More than likely. CGC did a 1 for 10. Cron hasn't done one yet. Neither, actually, High Tide did as well. High Tide did a 1 for 15. Let that sink in. So maybe these companies just need to do like 1 or 2 reverse splits and we're good. I always love kind of messing around with people when I say that. But obviously, I don't want any company to do a reverse split, but it's not the end of the world either. And again, if these US names were on, like if AYR was listed on a US major exchange, this thing's at 38 cents. Be doing a reverse split for sure. Buying more TLRY, very nice. Yeah, I loaded up. I actually bought some today and some Cure Leaf and some Canopy Growth. Very, very small, just nibbling. TLRY I already own a ton, but I'd say CGC maybe like 5% of my entire MJ portfolio. Cure Leaf, it's my second biggest holding, so I'm just loading the boat on that one. CGC hit 118, yeah, which is 11 cents pre-split, right? Two are together. Let's go through. Oh, I lost my spot here. Problem is, it's been the bottom of the barrel for a very long time. Yeah, well, it can always go lower, right? And that's something that the market proves time and time again is that it can go as low as you think it's going to go. It's going to go even lower than that times 10. It gets pretty insane. But you have to remember that the longer we stay down here, like purchases near zero are pretty awesome, right? Like Oxley, I was able to get this thing at a penny, right? While that sounds like, oh my God, it's a penny away from zero, but that doesn't mean it's bankrupt, right? This stock was at a penny and just hit 8.5 pennies. So, some of my, like, again, I didn't buy it all at a penny. I started to buy around 10 cents, 5 cents, 8 cents, 4 cents, 2 cents a penny. But, I'm now up over 100% on that investment on my overall, cost basis. And, some of those purchases that I made at a penny, let's say I put in $1,000 at a penny, it goes back to all time highs. That's into $300,000, a $1,000 investment there into $300,000. So imagine if you bought here and you're down 97%, you put in 10 grand and you're down to like, $900, right? Or maybe even less than that. Well, if you just took that, whatever that account was worth, or even $500 and bought it at a penny, who cares if you're down 10 grand? If this thing goes back to all time high, you can be up, $150,000, right? Even with just a small $500 buy at a penny. But that's, of course, not many people were buying down here. But now everybody loves Oxley again, right? Once the share price goes up, people are like, oh, the company's investable again. It's valuable again. There's some value here. Share prices don't mean squat, right? Doesn't matter about like if you just like sold all the company's assets, I'm sure TLRY would be worth at least $1.50 if you sold all their brands and assets and facilities, right? So things get pretty irrational to the downside, but also to the upside. When Terrence Cole's Senate hearing, I'm not sure when Terry Cole's Senate hearing will be. I think it's probably going to be sometime in like the next couple of months. Why so much negativity in the sector? Nothing really started yet for companies to grow and make profits. Yeah, exactly. It's just not popular, right? Like big tech, crypto, AI, even, the new administration coming in, every second word out of the president's mouth is crypto or AI. Look at yesterday, announced the big investment into AI centers and data centers, right? Micro semiconductor company there. So again, it's usually crypto, if not AI. Eventually, MJ will get its turn. It's just we're nowhere near there yet. Wow, good. Absolutely. The way it crashed, I think they're all going bankrupt. A lot probably will. There'll be a lot of mergers and acquisitions. Like in Canada, there's over 1,000 producers alone. How many producers do you know in alcohol? Like, major ones, right? There's usually around 6 to 12 major companies. How many big tech companies do you know? There's usually around 6 to 12, right? Yes, that doesn't mean there can't be smaller ones like niche ones and craft ones or whatever. But, in terms of the conglomerates, right? The blue chip ones, the $100 million market cap ones, there's not that many. Same thing with tobacco. And you have to remember how much of this is a plan so that, all these huge, MJ backed, like tobacco funded, alcohol funded companies, they're getting into, think of, Altria and Akron and Imperial Brands into Oxley and British American Tobacco into Organigram. You get the idea, Constellation and Canopy. Well, what if this is all just a way to, basically buy up all these other companies pennies on the dollar and then use retail as the funding machine through dilution, right? Why do you think there's the thing called non-dilutive shares, like fully diluted market cap? That's because a lot of these insiders, a lot of these different early investors, angel investors, they get non-dilutive shares, right? While we get dilutive shares, right? So they get, whether it be options or whatever, warrants and things like that, where it's guaranteed, right? The price is guaranteed. Whereas we have to buy the shares on the open market, which are dilutable, right? They're dilutive. So that's why, again, retail always loses most of the time. And you have to wonder is how much of this is orchestrated. So like we don't need 1,000 producers in Canada, and then think of how many there is in the US. Like probably what 3,000 to 5,000 total in North America. There's no way in hell that's gonna hold up, right? Like I said, there'll be tons of small operators, but you're gonna see maybe 6 to 12 major ones in that 50 to $100 billion market cap. Lingering catapult, of course. Yep, markets have been, once again, thank you very much for the giveaway there. Markets have been pretty rough. Good buying opportunity, though, some of the sectors with that huge down push today. Yeah. It's that's what I've been saying for a while as well, is you're probably going to see a hard and fast flush and then a quick recovery. And look at some other names like in the space, right? Look at Oxley, look at Cannara Biotech. They were just at all-time lows and now up like, hundreds of percent. It can change in a hurry. Canopy will go bankrupt? I doubt it. Again, look at that $200 million. Like, yes, Canopy doesn't have any money. They're not profitable. But what did they just do? They raised $200 million at the market. They can do it again. they can dilute people as much as they want. And that's the thing. It's just because a company is not profitable or is diluting doesn't mean it for sure will go bankrupt, right? Like there's a lot to like with Canopy. It now owns through Canopy USA, Jetty, Wana, and Acreage. So they're operating in the US now, and they're operating in Canada, and they have EU GMP certification through their Kincardine facility as well, focusing on international and medical and Germany, etc. So Mr. Mankey says, how's it going? Pretty funny. Yeah, let's take a look at that meme you sent me. SpongeBob. Love it. Oxley says, Scott. Yeah, so pretty much already went over them. There's not really too much to see here. At the moment, we confirmed the monthly uptrends. We have our low, high, higher low, and higher high. Just posted a video as well, so don't want to reiterate myself too much here. But yeah, I just posted that about 4 days ago. Nothing really has changed in this. I mentioned we could come back, touch around 6 to 5 cents, back test those EMAs, and still be in a monthly uptrend. So no major red flags. But yeah, I think very possible that we come back to around 5 to 6 cents and then continue our rush higher. But yeah, broader markets certainly did not help today. Look how weak and volatile the S&P 500 was today. So daily downtrend. We're up here quite a bit after hours, so we'll see. But I think I mentioned in the Power Group private community today that I think we're more than likely going to see daily oversold because it was the first time since August that it happened. But no major red flags whatsoever on the monthly time frame. It's still a monthly bull flag. Actually held the 0.32 fib perfectly. So 687 here, still on deck. If we hold 571, that maintains the bull flag. And if we continue into new all-time highs, then we'll see that continuation up to around 687 is the measured move there if you just go from the low to the high. So buy TLRY now, are you? Yeah, I bought some this morning. I can't tell you what to do or not to do, but yeah, I bought some this morning, and I already own a ton, right? It's my number one MJ holding. So I've just been adding in my TFSA in Canada, my tax-free savings account, because get an extra $7,000 that you can contribute of your own money, and that all grows tax-free. Oxy is a sleeping giant in the play. I wouldn't be surprised, Scott, if we saw some news in the stock based on how strong it's been, technically speaking. But getting a decent average here on TLRY and IIPR. Yeah, IIPR, another name that hasn't been spared. Zooming out to the monthly time frame. Yeah, we just hit 52-week low by the looks of it. And next major level of support would be $40. So yeah, 62, 40. Not a bad idea to start loading up if you're a believer. But yeah, one thing, how's it going to work out when, and a lot of these companies are not able to, like, they're starting to default on their payments. So that's not a great sign for IPR. And like what happens when we actually get banking reform and full-blown legalization? Like, is their business model going to be basically extinct at that point? I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I think this is more of like a pre-legalization play, but as we lead into banking and reform and full-blown legalization potentially, or even some sort of rescheduling, I think that eats away at the investment thesis here a little bit. But I'd be cautious. But yeah, definitely a name that could be ripe for a massive monthly bounce here. Once we started the monthly bounce last month, but it's a potential monthly bear flag now. We need to get above the 0.3 to fib to negate it. So if we get over 91.69, that'll negate it. No longer expecting it to play out. But anything under that's just a lower high and a potential for a monthly bear flag. In order to confirm it, we would need to lose 62. Yeah, I'm not the most confident in this playing out, but if we did confirm it, measured move would be down around 41, which is exactly where we have that 40 support that I mentioned. So that would make sense. And literally, again, you can't make this stuff up, right? All about support and resistance and looking at a chart, right? Like so many people, I get a lot of, people saying like, oh, my short TLRY, why do you keep saying it's going to 87 cents and 86 cents and 77 cents? And now you're saying 66 cents. It's like, well, it's not because I want it to go there. That's what the chart's saying, right? And I'm trying to be unbiased, right? I want it to go to $77, but why not? Why wouldn't you, even if you're angry that it's going down, it can still help you, right? Like if you're looking to add Tilray here and it, broke up to almost $3 and you're getting FOMO, well, wouldn't you like to know that there was a descending triangle? And then when we broke out of it, wouldn't you like to know that there was another daily bear flag targeting that exact level as well? And then wouldn't you like to know that there was an hourly bear flag? So that can help you be a little bit more patient when it comes to dollar cost averaging or entering, right? So it's all about having an edge and, also not even that. If let's say you're completely all out and you're not going to be adding any more, well, just psychologically preparing yourself mentally for a drop of 57% after we're already down like 96% is valuable, in my opinion, because you can say, oh, crap, like, okay, I got no more money to buy the dip, but we might easily see another 20 to 30% pullback from here, right? And you can just start to prepare yourself mentally and psychologically. And not only that, look at these other names as well. MSOS, right? It had a similar descending triangle and multiple bear flags on multiple different time frames. And here we are absolutely destroyed here as well. So again, looking at other charts can help you get to the most likely scenario and the conclusion, the most likely conclusion in the sector. And also it helps you not blame one particular stock, right? It doesn't, and then people say, oh, if only Tilray would post a good earnings report. Who cares? Green Thumb has always posted great earnings reports, and the stock's pretty much the lowest it's been in, what, a year? So just since April, this thing's down 60%. So it doesn't matter if it's profitable, unprofitable. Fundamentals do not matter at the moment. Emerging market in its infancy. Absolutely. It's so early, it's not even funny. Constellation will acquire Canopy, and Canopy Constellation shares will be zero. Canopy investors will get nothing, just like Acreage shareholders got nothing when Canopy bought Acreage. Yeah, it's possible. That's why, yeah, I'm not comfortable putting a lot of money into Canopy. It's more of a smaller play, but it definitely seems too big to fail at this point. And yeah, I mean, anything's possible at this point. Where's Constellation money? Yeah, it's up in smoke, as you could say. Sorry for a second question. No problem at all. Will Wana, Jetty, and Acreage help Canopy become cash flow positive? So they're deconsolidated, right? And they have the exchangeable share structure, which you can do at any time, and you can go back and forth, but you lose governing rights and things like that. And there's costs associated with doing it, and it's not exactly the easiest thing to do. So, yeah, it's a pretty novel structure. So we don't really 100% know, and then we don't even really have that much insight into their financials yet. We should know more in the spring. The best MJ play. You must be referring to Oxley. Yeah, exactly. Oxley. Excuse me. I think Imperial Brands will get more involved with Oxley. Yeah, very possible. Philip Morris was collaborating with Avicana as well. So, yeah, and all these people, right? Like on social media, that I made a post about this the other day. I was like, all these quote unquote experts in the field, like no one ever talks about why all big alcohol and tobacco is picking Canadian companies, right? Like they have the blueprint. They've been operating under a legal framework in Canada for almost 7 years, and the U.S. can't even figure out how to get banking or rescheduling done, let alone full blown legalization, right? So of course, like in my opinion, the amount of data that they're collecting, the second the U.S. opens up, they're going to get their lunch handed to them. Like it's going to be insane. And like not only that, look at Cureleaf, look at Tilray, look at all these other players in Canada. They got a huge head start in Germany, right? Green Thumb's like, yeah, we're taking it slow and steady, and we got a lot of cash flow. We got a lot of cash and a good balance sheet and all that stuff. But you only operate in 14 states out of the U.S., dude. Like, what happens when you need to go to all 50, and then Canada, and then Europe, and then Latin America and Asia, right? That's huge capex. That's eating into your balance sheet, your cash reserves. You either have to dilute or a mix of both. Acquire companies. That's expensive. Licenses, hard to get those now, like limited license in states and things like that. So they're very expensive. So what do all these billion-dollar corporations know that we don't? Tilray is a good company. However, what about the heavy dilution? Again, if a company's not profitable, which Tilray might not be profitable until maybe late 2026, very possible that we see another round of dilution or two. Canopy, probably going to be 2027. I would say more realistically 2028. So I'd say Canopy could still see another 2 or 3 rounds of dilution, maybe more. Tilray, I think another round or two is still possible. But once they turn a profit, there's no telling, what can happen in such a short period of time. To quote Boris Jordan, CEO of Cureleaf, he said, if it wasn't for 280E, he believes that Cureleaf would already be paying a dividend to investors. Let that sink in for a moment. And he also said that MJ companies will be high cash flowing businesses. And he thinks dividends will be very popular in the sector. So again, these companies, once they start to turn a profit, they'll have more money than they know what to do with. They'll just be, swimming in it. Dilution is not the solution, Simon. Yeah. Well, what is? Going bankrupt? Not being able to keep the lights on? I mean, one could argue that if Simon and Tilray didn't pivot more into the alcohol segment, they might have already had to pull the plug, right? If they didn't diversify. And now into hemp drinks is going to be huge. If their Manitoba Harvest, their wellness business, their distribution business, their alcohol business, their MJ business. So, I think they did a pretty good job dealing with what they had to deal with. But at the end of the day, nobody's perfect. They pay a lot of excise taxes, and dilution has to be the solution. If you're not profitable, what else do you expect them to do? And money's hard to come by, right? Getting loans is difficult. It's federally illegal in the US. Schedule 1, same as heroin. It's not like they're selling computers. And I will remind you, Apple almost went bankrupt in 1997 selling computers, not Schedule 1 illegal drugs. And Microsoft had to bail them out with $150 million, which is more like $300 million in today's dollars. That's a lot of money. And on any given day, Apple can be worth more than Microsoft now. So what was their excuse? Oxy is the best, safest play, hands down. I wouldn't say safest play, but the multiplier effect there, if you added a penny or two, is insane. Raging Gun says, hi, friends, exciting times. I don't know if there's many other people here that would agree with you, but I've kind of learned to shift my mindset, right? Like, I posted on X there the other day. I'm absolutely in love with the fact that MJ is dropping to lower lows and new all-time lows, 52-week lows, while crypto's about to see blow off top moment. And yeah, the XRP just ready to go. Like, this thing's going to be at $4 in no time. And when it hits $4, I'm going to be taking my first take profit ever. My average is around 40 cents. And when we hit $4, pretty much all of that is going into MJ stocks. That first take profit. And that's essentially my initial investment. That'll be going into MJ stocks. What are your top 5 MJ companies? So yeah, I'll have to do an updated video, but my top 5 would be Tilray, Cureleaf, probably High Tide, and then it's a toss-up from there. I really like Cannara Biotech. CDC, I'm not the biggest fan of Canopy, but I just think they're too big to fail at this point. Avocana is a great medical play. Green Thumb, I think will be good long term. Oxy's really good. Organogram, I'd say those all really kind of tie. It's hard to pick a top 5, but I would say top 3: Tilray, Cureleaf, High Tide. and then probably green thumb, and then a toss up between all those other ones I just mentioned. CBWTF. Yeah, that's the OTC, wasn't it? CBWTF. Yeah, that's the OTC. So yeah, that went under a penny, but still around the same percentage. My portfolio is going to be funny in the future, from off a cliff to off the chart. Yeah, volatility to the downside means more volatility to the upside eventually. I compared CDC Fractal with Amazon Fractal. How dare you? Don't you know you can't compare that? Oh, don't worry. The social media police will get you. They're coming for you now. You see, hear this, everyone? He put CGC and MJ and Amazon in the same sentence. Can someone, basically put this guy out of his misery? What is he talking about? But the fractal from 1998 to 2000.coms looks very similar. Yeah, it's literally this investor psychology cycle. This is what I'm saying. Like, people who come into MJ, like, I love y'all, but we don't have the smartest people. Like, let's put it that way. And a lot of people just can't put down the bongs. um, it's kind of funny, but it's true at the same time. Most people come into investing, they don't know what this is. Like, again, I learned this in crypto. So when I came into MJ, I was like, oh, okay, probably gonna have the same thing. And this is Amazon did this, Tesla did this, electric vehicles, AI will do this. It's done this, right? Any company selling sugar has done this, right? And it's just the investor psychology cycle. And again, that's why when most people come into MJ, they have no idea, and they don't even care to know. They're just like, I love MJ. This isn't going anywhere. I'm a diehard fan. Love it. Gonna invest in it, but didn't, kind of grease the wheel, so to speak, and then you get absolutely destroyed. It's a difficult game. It's a brutal game. So yeah, literally just the investor psychology cycle. Scott just loving Oxley here. Bro, I just transferred 175 Canadian in my new trading account. What should I buy? Um, wow. Yeah, well, like I said, going back to my earlier comment, I hope you have a net worth of at least like 1.75 million, because to put any more than 5 to 10% into one sector or one stock, I'd be very, very cautious. Oxley, yeah, like I said, you can't go wrong at this price, really, in my opinion. But it's a very risky play at this point. It's only worth 100 million market cap still, right? Like, CureLeaf's like 1.3 billion dollar market cap. So it's just a tiny little baby, but that means more reward as well. So not a bad idea though to add a little bit of that. I'd maybe put like maybe a few percent of that into Oxley. But like I've already mentioned my top 5 earlier, so hopefully that answered that question. Huge gains in the future. I see not a reason to buy, I think is what you meant. Yeah, and like, we're so early, right? Like I said, biggest country in the world still isn't even, like, you still can't even buy MJ with a credit card in the US. Just think of how crazy that is. Ox is good. What should my portfolio be with 175,000? Oxley and XRP. Oh, you're gonna factor in crypto as well. Yeah, I mean XRP too, right? Like, it's so high at this point. So again, buy low, sell high is the name of the game. So at this point, again, it's so hard to say. I don't know what your situation's like. I don't know if you own XRP. I don't know if you own Oxley already or not. But Oxley Q4 earnings coming up soon. Yeah, I can't wait. I have to have Hugo on again for an interview. If you haven't seen that, I've already interviewed him, and it was actually a really good conversation. I enjoyed that a lot. Yep, you need to understand finance to make it an MJ. Otherwise, you got no chance. Yeah, I mean, it's the most. I'm really starting to think it's even more manipulated now than crypto, which is kind of mind-boggling. I never thought that would be the case, but I think it is. And yeah, it's death penalty in some countries, and in the U.S., it's federally illegal. So, like, I don't know how people don't understand this. And I wish I could, get in the mind of every single person and help them do it, but it's just not possible. What about the upcoming consolidation? Will the top 5 survive by gobbling up smaller competitors? Yeah, exactly, David. I think I already mentioned that earlier. So that's something that we have to think about as well. So the longer this goes on, the more easier it's going to be for companies to just come in through receivership and, CCAA or bankruptcy, whatever it is, right? Chapter 11, XRP, HBAR, XLM, and Oxley. Those are solid. Yep. Instant gratification is disgusting and messy. Yeah, exactly. Well, from the last newsletter that I posted, for those that subscribe to the newsletter, the last quote of that I posted was, where is it? In the garden of wealth, sow seeds of patience, where others chase fleeting blooms, for the quiet roots of time yield the richest harvest. And you get lots of people that are traders and things like that. I'm not knocking trading, but 95% of traders lose money, and a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. You're a slave to the computer, and yeah, history shows, data shows that if you just buy and hold, you'll do light years better and see way more gains and a lot less risk and stress and anxiety, and you're not staring at charts. Although I like staring at charts, it's fun. I'll be doing more trading soon. I'll be doing more trading in crypto soon. Once my time in the market is over and I see all these crazy gains, sometimes 10x, 20x, 50x, maybe even 100x on some of them, then it's going to switch to timing the market. Then I'm going to be going into cash and I'll be doing some more short-term trades, swing trading, day trading. But time in the market, I don't want to be, unless you're short. Unless you go short, then time in the market can be good at the top of a bull cycle. But same thing with MJ. Time in the market is just better now. And then once we go on 52-week highs and, monthly overbought, potentially new all-time highs, like Canara is very close to a new all-time high. So, then we switch from time in the market to timing the market and more of the trading. And that's my life, or that's my strategy and style. First USA Crypto Summit at the White House coming on Friday, March 7th. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I think, yeah, a lot. There's speculation that they could announce no tax on American cryptos there. That's too safe, Rob. Don't be wimpy. Take a risk, bro. Yeah, no, I've seen enough. I've had my whole entire crypto account stolen. I had a crypto exchange. They took 1 Bitcoin and 2 Ethereum and some Litecoin from me. And today that would be worth about $250,000. So, I mean, I might not have held it until then. Who knows? But at the end of the day, my whole account got taken from me. And it wasn't because it was my fault. It was the exchange was a Ponzi scheme. The owner was doing all kinds of shady stuff, and the exchange went insolvent. And yeah, I only got back like a couple percent of that through the whole process. So basically lost like 98% of my crypto portfolio. I almost completely walked away from investing in general in 2018, 2017, 2018, early 2018, and actually used that as motivation to build back up my crypto portfolio again. And pretty soon, before you know it, my crypto portfolio will be worth 7 figures. Like, no problem. It could be like within weeks, right? So this goes to show you what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I am not the type to give up. And yeah, you mess with me, I'll mess with you 10 times harder. And I just use that as motivation. $1 million invested in 2018 is now $2,500 exactly. So why would you ever want to risk 100,000 or $1 million in one sector, especially the most riskiest? You don't need to do that. Dogecoin, a meme coin in crypto, you could have put in $1,000 into that thing, and less than a year later, it'd be worth like $500,000. So why do you need to put in 100 grand or a million? I just wouldn't even, like I said, unless my net worth was 10 million or north of that, I would not be putting $1 million into any investment unless it was real estate. Smart people are boring and live boring lives. Yeah. Well, Warren Buffett, for example, he plays with billions of dollars though, right? When you're putting in billions of dollars, you don't need 50x or 100x returns, right? The risk is to the downside. Whereas if you put in a few $1,000s, or even 20, 10 and 20,000, if you've got more money, you know what to do with $10 or $20,000 is nothing, right? But the most you can lose is 10 to 20,000. Right? If you're like a whale and you've got a net worth of $1 million, you're like, I'm going to put in $500,000. I'm a whale. Who cares? Well, that $500,000 can be lost very, very easily. And Buffett missed Amazon. He missed Bitcoin. He missed Apple, right? But he likes them now because they're blue chip and they're established and they have great numbers. They have great value investing principles, right? But they didn't have that in the early days, similar to MJ. You can't look at an earnings report when 95% of the growth has yet to even occur, right? We've only gone through 5% of the growth in this industry. There's still 95% of the growth curve ahead. So how can you possibly be looking at earnings reports to value how valuable these companies are in the future? If one country in the EU were to legalize, that changes everything, right? Numbers don't matter at all from the last report, completely skewed. If the US reschedules, completely skewed, right? Tilray said if they could sell MJ beverages in the US, that'd be $1 billion opportunity. Imagine an extra $1 billion hitting their, well, they probably wouldn't get exactly $1 billion, but they're the number one leader in beverage. I'm adding more Oxley this week for sure. Yeah, I'm pretty much already, I'd added not too long ago, maybe a few weeks ago now, but yeah, I'm pretty much all added on that one. My net worth isn't much. I know Tilray is going to come right back up, so no worries. Yeah, I mean, you can pick worse names for sure. I just be cautious. That's all I got to say. Don't you think CGC, ACB are getting ready for a big pump first to sell shares? Hang on a second. Don't you think CGC, ACB are getting ready for a big pump first to sell shares? Oh, like to go on a run and then dilute again? Yeah, that's always a possibility as well. But really brutal that CGC did the dilution news at all-time lows. That's, like I said, it's like getting kicked in the nads when you're already down. Oxy hasn't. First USA Crypto Summit at the White House. Yeah, exactly. Mr. Market, same with Canopy. They split too. Yep. TLRY's at 75 cents. No reverse split yet. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, ACB did too. So technically, ACB's price should be at 3.9 cents, not $4. That's the illusion that is the financial world, right? I get tons of people who I've been talking about reverse splits for forever, and they finally are just like, okay, you keep saying this reverse split thing. What is it? Yeah. And then you tell them, and most people don't even remember what it is. So it's kind of funny at the end of the day. Oxley, hello. ACB not have STC. I'm not sure what that means. They don't have consolidation? Yeah, no. I'm buying more Tilray, doubling down. Yeah, like I said, just make sure you be super cautious and know what you're getting yourself into, because it's not easy seeing your portfolio, swing massive amounts, and it's just as important to manage your emotions when the price is going up as it is when the price is going down, right? When the prices start to go up, you might be like, oh, I'm holding this thing until Tilray gets to $5. Oh, I thought I was done the chat, and then I just like scrolled down a bit, and then like a crap ton more just showed up. Okay, wow, I was starting to wrap up there, but yeah, just as important to manage. I guess it was just a little bit of a lag, and then it loaded. But yeah, you just have to manage your emotions, right? Because once prices start to go up, your plan is to hold until all-time highs, let's say on Oxley, and Oxley gets at 10, 20 cents and you bought it at a penny. That's going to be very tempting, right? So you need to have an exit plan. Maybe you sell a little bit at 10 cents. Maybe you sell a little bit at 25 cents, a little bit at $1, a little bit at $2, right? So it's just as important to have a plan and manage your emotions. And then eventually, once things start to go back to all-time highs again and 52-week highs, they're going to get you turned permable. I remember on some Canadian companies, they were trading at like $2 and $10. They went from like $2 or $3 to $10, and the Motley Fool was saying, "Oh, this company's going to go to $100, maybe even $400 one day." Right? That they do this to help you stay bullish for forever, and permable, and not sell. Right? Oxley is my candy. I just buy shares every day. I'm late. Hello. Hey, Jam, how you doing, man? Or I think you're a woman. It's hard to keep track of everybody now, but pretty sure. It's popping up and up. Oxley has not split. They have not. No, but they're not listed on a U.S. major exchange either. So nibbling like a little kitten. Yeah, 1,000 here and there, 1,000. Yeah, it doesn't take much to get a couple thousand. 5 years today, it will be up, not lower. I'm going to scroll through this a little bit quicker here. Me too. Is there any hidden bullish R-side divergence on Tilray? I didn't see any. I can take a quick peek here. And I know I don't have my screen sharing at the moment. I'll do that in just a second. Just see here if I can find it. Yes. So is there anything? Nothing on the monthly. Weekly time frame. We might see something on the weekly time frame soon. Same with the daily. But no, not really. So for anybody that doesn't know what bullish divergence or bearish divergence is, an example that I always go back to would be like a Tesla. So you can see here, price was trending lower highs, or sorry, price was trending higher lows and higher highs, but the RSI was trending lower highs and lower lows. Same thing happened to Amazon in the .com days as well. You can see here we peaked and then we lower highs and lower lows, and then higher highs and higher lows and higher highs. What else was it in the .com days? Was it Apple? Or I guess it was SPY. Yeah, it was SPY. So the RSI peaked in 96, and then we just continued to trend higher, but that's called bullish or bearish divergence. So when you're trending higher lows and higher highs in the price action, and the RSI is lower highs and lower lows, downtrending, and this is uptrending, that means there's probably going to be a massive sell-off, and the game of musical chairs is going to end at some point. And then sure enough, we peaked about 4 years later after the RSI peaked, and then we crashed 50%. And I think something similar is coming here now in 2018, where we peaked in 2018, and here we are now about 7 years after, and we're probably due for a at least 50% correction, and that would bring us down to around 300 to 250, which would still be 20 to 40% higher than March 2020. So I think that's very, very possible. But great question. I'm not seeing anything there for TLRY right now. Oxy going to hit 50 cents, then $1, then $5. I think it's very possible. After 10 reverse splits, maybe. Well, again, it's not listed on a U.S. major exchange, so it doesn't really have to. Plus, it's not even able to list on a U.S. major exchange based on the qualifications. Macy, 75 cents. Tom, Tilray, yeah. Oh, it did. You mean Canadian? It already hit 75 cents. Maybe you're talking about Canadian, because yeah, it hit 93 cents Canadian. Yes, it will. Oxy will pass all-time high market. That would be awesome. I'd be up about 500x, which would be life-changing wealth. Like I commented on X today, Tilray price to book ratio is 0.18. So raw book value per share is $3.50. Feels illegal to invest this way. Yeah, it's MJ, right? It is illegal in the US. So not much surprise that it feels illegal. Politics, Trump invites former medical MJ prisoner to speech before joint session of Congress. Yeah, love to see that. Tilray's brand's current price is 1.13. Its book value per share for the quarter ended November 2024 was 375. Hence today's PB ratio of Tilray brands is 30. Yeah, I haven't run the numbers or anything like that, but anyone use Wealthsimple? Yes, I do. It's not bad. It's not my primary one, but I definitely use it. It's not like people aren't smoking dope. People are smoking it like flies on doo-doo. So, yeah. All right, wrapping up. Wow, I lost my position again. Someone types and then it messes it all up. It's not like people, okay, got that one. Avent brands, earnings, and chart. I don't really have any insight into their earnings, but I'm not a huge fan of the stock. It is in a weekly uptrend. Confirmed the higher low and higher high there. So let's get our fib tool. Looks like a weekly bull flag. Now it pulled back more than the 0.5% fib. So right now holding 107, which is EMA 12. So held that in the last go around last week. So we'll see if that can hold. $1 psychological after that, but I'd be cautious. Close at the low of the day. Yeah, no major recommendations or opinions with this one. Very small cap name anyway. It's only worth 12 million. The only thing I'll say is like there's so many deals out there. Just be careful with these like really, really small and micro cap names. Or like the high, it's like going to the casino, right? You're already in the casino, but it's like going to high stakes instead of just regular super risky casino. Trump talked about possibly pulling tariffs back tomorrow. Yeah, it's all a tactic, right? And it's stupid, right? To quote Justin Trudeau, not like I'm a huge fan or anything. He called it dumb. It is dumb. It's like, oh, we'll tariff you back, and oh, we'll tariff you more. It's like, okay, this is pretty stupid. Rob Ford, Ontario says he will shut off power to the states. Yeah, like New York and a few other places, and I think it's like 3 million homes or something like that. Yeah, again, it's just a bunch of stupidity, in my opinion. Tilray will be forever etched into my life's memories on Earth. Mental psychological think classes. It's hilarious. I love losses on paper. Paper losses tickle me. Jam says, Rod, what's your opinion on Tilray's outstanding shares relative to the price? Do you think a reverse split is a good idea to decrease the outstanding shares? I think so. It seems all but inevitable at this point, but I mean, there's lots of companies out there with billions of shares, but they also are profitable. So increase the odds of more dilutions as well. Reverse split next week. I'm not sure what you're referring to, Tilray maybe, but yeah, no, definitely not. They would get a warning first. So it's going to be at least a couple of weeks before the warning. Then they'll get 6 months from there, and then they could get another extension. So they could have over a year before they're absolutely forced to do a reverse split. Possible, highly unlikely 50-50 shot of a lifetime worth the gamble to me. Tobacco is transferring to hemp. No, not really. No, Philip Morris just did a collaboration with Avicana, which is a medical play, biopharmaceutical company. And Imperial Brands is with Oxley. British American Tobacco, big into organogram. You've got Altria with Cron. But yeah, I mean, hemp it'll be huge too, right? But hemp and MJ are regulated the same in Canada. I assume it will be the same in the US eventually. Tobacco is mostly done. Yeah, exactly. Well, Philip Morris has a division on like a healthier lifestyle division, like beyond nicotine. I think so does British American Tobacco or something like that. I can't remember what that beyond nicotine was. So much fear and uncertainty in the market due to tariffs now. We will see more inflation and maybe unemployment data will not be nice too. Not sure how long the bloodbath will go. Yeah, I think it's just a narrative, right? Like markets need a reason to sell off. And if you know Trump back in the China days in his last presidency in his term, he used the China trade war like every second day. Like it was always coming out of his mouth. The last time he ran for president in 2016 to 2020. So this isn't new, right? And again, a lot of MJ investors don't understand that because they haven't been around that long and they don't really know financial markets. Like they just time that, right? The markets need a reason to sell off, in my opinion. The market still probably would have sold off anyway. Like Buffett's been selling a crap ton. He's been sitting on a boatload of cash, right? So they just need a reason. And technically, we were just at all-time highs on SPY, right? We're like over 600. How many people thought we would be over 600 on SPY in March 2020? Like no one on planet Earth, right? I remember people when SPY was getting to 300, they were from 200. They're like, I'm shorting the shit out of this. Like, what an idiot. Like, people are dumb buying this at 300. Now it's over 600 and just corrects to 575. And people are like, oh my God, it's Armageddon, right? It's like, no. Like, we're still just like 5 or so percent away from all time high, 5 or 6%. Like, we could be at all time highs again on SPY next week. And people will be like, I guess the bull market's back. Schedule one is bullshit. Yeah. At the end of the day, if you buy a million or $100,000 of Tilray shares or 100,000 of Tilray shares today in 2025 and 2020, you'll have, yeah. Oh, you mean $1 million worth? Yeah. Or $100,000, you'll have like millions, billions, trillions, whatever that is. Another issue with Tilray might right now is Trump's 25% Canadian tariffs. If we do get rescheduling, Tilray will be at a disadvantage to MSOs. Well, there's no guarantee the tariffs will even continue, go through, or continue. And Tilray has the IP to MedMen. They also have, I think, like 15 manufacturing facilities across the U.S. They could easily buy a producer in the U.S. They don't actually have to go cross border. What else? They have the hemp, Manitoba Harvest. All their beer brands are in the U.S. Beer made in the U.S. So that would be a very small segment anyway. The bong will make your ability to think go dong. Yeah. Yeah, personally, even the edibles have a pretty big kick on me these days. I did 30 milligrams of edibles last night, and I was like, whoa! Like it's crazy how potent the products are getting, and like it's got a fast onset too. It's like 10 minutes, 15 minutes max. Leaving U.S. aside for legalization, what are your views on Germany, Europe, Australia, and other countries as these companies are expanding to other countries? Again, that's why I love the Canadian companies and Curaleaf because they're all dominating, right? Like Green Thumb only operates in 14 states in the U.S., right? They don't even have any kind of operations outside of the U.S., right? So they're all super behind. And yeah, Germany is going to be huge. There's more people in the EU than all of America, and then Latin America. You've got Asia, yeah, Australia, right? The opportunity is immense. And there was an article out like yesterday, I think it was, talking about how if the UK were to legalize or something like that, they would generate like over $1 billion in revenue or something like that. I forget. Yeah, we're going into pretty like we could be going into a recession, if not a depression, across the globe. So yeah, they're going to be countries are going to be and nations are going to be that much more creative. And MJ is something that would absolutely thrive in that environment. But great question. If Trump doesn't do well tonight, about 40 minutes from now, my guess market is going to crash and burn tomorrow. He's freaking investors out. Why invest with this uncertainty? I'm not that greedy. Good luck. Yeah, I mean, why would you invest near all time highs anyway? Right? Um, if MJ's at all time lows, just wait it out. Like if it goes lower, who cares? Dollar cost average, buy more, accumulate. If not, don't accumulate, just wait it out, right? Like who cares? It's at all time lows. Don't risk any more than you're willing to lose. Up when, yeah, wish we all knew that. It's the meme, literally. I eat risk for breakfast. Every day I wake up and I live as if it's my last. Yeah, that's the way to be. But you don't want to be. I'm very below my means kind of mentality, even though I might not need to all the time. But I'm a minimalist. I used to have a 4-bedroom house to myself like 4 years ago after the C19. I went home, sold my house, and yeah, I had a 4-bedroom house all to myself, and I had all the bells and whistles. I had a $10,000 brand new bed, I had the remote on it, and a projector in my room, and like I had like everything you can imagine, right? And like so much stuff. And then when I moved from Prince Edward Island, east coast of Canada to the west coast, I literally sold everything, and I had like not anything but like a suitcase. And now I'm just a very minimalist. I hate have a lot of stuff now. It's not for me. I'd rather just be light, pack up, go. And a lot of that stuff, it's just material. You can't take it with you when you go anyway. Same time tomorrow, dude. Down 1,000. Yeah, we care only about the mind of the Mr. Market. Is mania or is he a maniac or is he depressed? Yeah. Oh, that's terrible. My dad bought 5 Bitcoins for $100 back in 2015. Died in 2018. We don't have the code. Oh, that's terrible. I'm sorry to hear that. Both, your dad passing, obviously, and yeah, that's yeah. Always got to have a backup plan, and with crypto, not exactly is easy to just put that in your will unless there's a way to, you know, like have it kind of a couple people in your family or something or like go look at this place or something if something happens. Ouch. Yeah, only way to get the code. Good luck. Yep. Google is your friend. Tilray is the king of beverages, absolutely. But seriously, in the price for the beverages at the Canadian stores in BC, like $10, $10 for a hemp drink, you got to have a huge salary to be able to afford those. Yeah, no, they're getting down now. Like in Canada, here in Alberta, you can get a 10 milligram beverage for uh, like $3 or $4. So it's not bad, and it's only 5% tax here as well. But yeah, they'll be down to like $2 or $3 when you buy them in like a 12 pack or a 24 pack, similar to beer. SSRIs destroy my ability to manage emotions. Yeah. I'm like Mr. Market now, up one day, down the next. Motley Fool, I got the subscription. Yeah. I probably wouldn't pay. I probably wouldn't take the subscription if they paid me. No, I'm kidding. I would. But yeah, no interest. Take it with a grain of salt, right? It's like Seeking Alpha. There's multiple publishers and writers behind the face or the name. It's all about the economies of scale. Average total cost decline as production increases. Exactly. That's why beverages are a very difficult thing for people to get into. It's very highly capex intensive. It takes a lot of money and capital to fund it, and then it takes a lot of to sustain it as well. But now, like you said, and then you got to get the distribution, and in order to do that, you need to have regulations. Like that's why Molson Coors got out, is because they went into every different state and they had to, get their legal department and compliance department. It's just too much, right? You need once everything's all on the same level playing field, and regulation is the same throughout the country and multiple countries. Then it's just easier to get that economy of scale, right? I think above bought every low so far this cycle. Yeah, there's been a lot of them. You must have been buying a lot. Jam is a man. Ah, oh, yeah, I thought so. That's why I said it. But I get it wrong, so I can't. I've got like thousands of people now watching your videos for almost 3 years. No, I know. I know for sure. I know you've been around probably longer than most. Unfortunately, still holding the bag, but hey, bags are loaded and ready for the up. Yeah. I'm waiting for Oxley to triumph. Microcaps, nope, not going there. Yeah, it's riskiest of the riskiest. Yeah, I'd be. There's just so many other good deals, right? Like the large caps are basically small caps now. So, like Canopy at 200 million, that's insane. Let's do a quick market capitalization. CDC. Where was it? It was at 22 billion once. Oh my god, almost 23 billion, and now it's worth 200 million. That's wild. I gotta start wrapping it up in 335 billion cash. Yeah, exactly. The edibles is the reason why you didn't remember the jam. Yeah, probably. Oh no, that was yesterday. uh, but yeah, it might be a little bit of brain fog or something. I did say man initially, and I second guess myself. That's why I do terrible at multiple choice questions. It's like I usually have the right answer, and then I second guess myself. Do the tranches for OGI dilute the stock? They closed the third one yesterday. Yeah, they do. Yep. Great show. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And thanks for the support as well, Savage. I live in Langford now. For me too, I'm a minimalist. Yep. Yeah, yeah. I was a maximalist. Had tons of bells and whistles and trinkets and stuff like two sectionals and yeah. Even as when I was a kid, I was like, oh, I gotta like. It's like, what can I do to upgrade my room? I'd be like 13 playing video games. I'd be like, surround sound, massive, TV. It's just like, what's the next upgrade? And then, like, in 3 years, all your stuff's like obsolete and a thing of the past. And then it's just a money grab, right? It's like playing the new NHL every year, buying the new NHL game for PS5 or whatever. It's just like, it's such a waste of money. Invest in MJ and stop caring about having stuff. Alberta is great for prices. BC is taxed. Yeah, that's so true. But it'll come down, and then once the excise tax comes down and everything like that, yeah, I'm confident it'll be very similar to alcohol at some point. All right, that was fun. Wow, got through everything. And once again, thank you very much to all the VIPs, and shout out to Lingering Catapult VIP as well. Gifted 5 memberships. Really do appreciate it, and I'm sure everybody else will appreciate it who was lucky enough to be gifted those. So thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it. Much love. Thank you for the live stream. You're welcome, my man. My man Jam. Jam the man. That's how I'll remember from now on. All right. Thanks very much. Thanks very much, everybody. Hope you have a fantastic night. Once again, it's Rod with Pow Group. Always a blast coming on and spending time and being on the pursuit of wealth with everybody else, because it's been a journey. It's been a hell of a journey. But you can't have the ups without the downs, and We're massively down, but can't wait until we can be massively up and celebrating together. So it is what it is for now. We'll get through it. Grass is green on the other side. All right. Post the meme. Maybe after, have to get going here now, but shoot it out on X or something. All right. Take care, everybody. And we'll see you on the next video.